Buenas noches, bienvenidos a otro programa de Benfica Podcast. Hoy es el 5 de mayo. That's all I got. That's all I got. What's going on, everybody? What's going
¡Órale, güey!
Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the All Benfica Podcast, your weekly source for all Benfica talk. On tonight's agenda, we have Gill Vicente recap. We'll also discuss some news, some rumors, transfer rumors, and all that good stuff. And we'll look ahead to Benfica's game at Estádio da Luz, Benfica's penultimate game at Estádio da Luz for the season against last place Penafiel. With me tonight, Mr. Steve Santos. What's going on, Stevie?
It's Cinco de Mayo. I was going to drink tequila, but I didn't have any, so it's down to bourbon. But I have to commend you on your Spanish. It's a lot better than I could do. Way to go.
And Cristiano Oliveira.
¡Órale, güey! ¿Qué es lo que pasa aquí? ¿Ah? ¿Qué es lo que pasa? No, that's not even Mexican.
It's
That's
not
Puerto
Dominican?
Rican.
Yeah, all right.
No, that's Puerto Rican. You know what's Mexican? My buddy. His name is Jose Cuervo. That's Mexican. That's all I know. And I'm gonna have a couple of those in a little while. Steve should get well acquainted with Jose.
All right, let's get this thing started. Benfica played Gill Vicente up in Cockland. How many cock jokes can we make tonight?
With you around, I'm sure there's going to be at least a couple
All
more.
right, here's one. Last time I saw a cock getting beat this bad, I was in a back room in Spanish Harlem.
Oh my God!
All right.
Wow.
Cockfight.
I hope somebody
Wow.
laughed somewhere around there about
No,
that.
I hope whoever came up with that, had plenty of Jose Cuervo in them. You know what I mean? Because right now, at least, before I rip them, who was it that came up with that? Or you came up with that on your own?
Now that was me.
That was you?
I was in the bathroom today and I was thinking about cock jokes, and that's the best I could come up with.
Olla. Yo, there's kids watching this, man.
Let's talk about roosters.
Yeah.
Talk about the roosters.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
You guys have never been to a cockfight in Spanish Harlem in the back room? They do
Washington,
those all the
Washington
time.
Heights? No.
There you go. All right, I'll give you the lineup real quick. Julie Cesar was in goal. Maxi, Luizão, Jardel, and Eliseu were across the back. Samaris and Pizzi were in the middle. Gaetan on one of the wings, and Suleimani. Olajan never even got called to the game. And Jonathan Lima up front. Steve, surprised at all Suleimani, and he actually was quite good. He had an assist.
I was completely surprised. Completely surprised with Suleimani. I mean, I think it's been a year since he started a match. That was all the headlines I was reading the next day. But he, to his own credit and to Gill Vicente just being utterly garbage, Suleimani was awesome. I mean, I believe it was the first goal that he sets up with a lovely reverse pass. His movement was great. The only thing with Suleimani is you wish he could be like that way more often, because a player with that kind of talent would be a great asset for us off the bench. He'd even do well to replace a Gaetan or a Salvi when they're off injured. But he's been so sketchy, so hit and miss, so unfit, for lack of any other words. You just can't rely on him. But if you could see what the guy has. He's got great feet.
I think you hit the nail on the head right there, Steve. I think the thing is the guy is never healthy, because when he's healthy, the guy's proven that he could play. And you saw it this weekend. He came into the game, obviously, not taking a part in any of these games for a long time. He came in, looked like he didn't skip a beat. He had a couple great plays. Obviously, that first setup for the first goal, who I thought Jonas should have just elbowed Maxi out of the way. I mean, I would and gotten on the score sheet. But still, nonetheless, Suleimani I thought was very impressive for a guy considering that's been out for a while. And I agree with you 100%. I hope this guy could find a way to get healthy and stay on the field. And maybe we do have something here, because there's plenty of rumors about Olajan leaving. We've all touched on Olajan here, that this guy quite possibly is not a starting player. He's more suited to come off the bench. And if you have a guy like Suleimani, a guy that could obviously play on both wings, I think he adds great depth to this team. So hopefully he finds a way to stay healthy and be able to help this team. Obviously, there's only a couple games left, but if he has to stay for next season, obviously it'll be important that this guy's healthy.
Yeah, last time we saw Suleimani put a good streak of games, he was getting injured against Juventus about a year ago. So that was when he really had a solid effort and some games together before he got hurt. And I must say, he's kind of like a utility guy. He could play on the interior. He can play on the wing. He has both feet. He can also play on both wings. And it's, the guy has decent feet. I mean, he's not a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, but he's better than Olajan at this junction, Steve.
Well, I don't think Olajan could have had that performance that Soleimani did. You guys ready for the gunshots? I don't think Talisca could have played the way Soleimani did, but that's just me.
Different players, totally different players, man.
But he was asked. He would have been asked to play the same position, Talisca.
Agreed. But let's not forget, man. Talisca, say what you want, whether you like the guy or not. This is a guy that he has to play in that 10 position. When he doesn't play in the center of the park, I really don't sit there and judge the guy because listen, I can't expect the guy to work miracles. He's obviously a guy that came to Portugal without any type of break. He finished the Brasileirão, came into Portugal, continued the season, started the season off. He was much better than everybody else because obviously the guy was in game rhythm. He was in shape while everyone else was still pretty much in preseason shape. Then, everybody else caught up to him fitness-wise. He got a little bit tired, but when he plays in the middle, he's half decent. It's when he plays on the wings that we can't expect him to work miracles right now, and so that's just what I wanted to add on.
I'm telling you that JJ is still going to make Talisca a very, very good player. Like, he's very good with the ball going forward. He just lacks in that maybe his defensive positioning and defensive efforts. But I think he's very quick, especially when he's got the ball and he's got the goal in front of him. He's not good to play with his back against the goal, but when he's got room in front of him and could take a couple of guys on with some real estate in front of him, I think he could do it.
But he's also missing, Alfredo, the vision. And maybe, like you said, JJ will help him out with that. But to me, he's not a polished playmaker yet. He's a guy that, to me at least, does not know how to spread the ball quite yet. Not saying he won't get there, but right now he's not at that level. Steve, you're over there with a big-ass Kool-Aid smile on your face. I don't know if that's the bourbon effect or something I've said. So, I mean, why don't you share with us what's going on in Steve Zinou's world?
I find it funny every week we have the same topic. I know, it's all my fault. I bash him and you guys defend him every week. Every week.
Well, go ahead, Steve. You're laughing because of that, or you want to disagree after you disagree with us?
I could see JJ turning him into a good player, but Talisca has a lot to learn in his brain. Not even so much in his ability. The guy has got good control. He hits the ball very sweetly. I mean, when he connects with the ball, you could see that he's got very good technique. But the positioning is not there. The knowing what's going on around you is not there. Like Chris just said, the vision is just very, very far away. It doesn't seem like that will ever be part of his game. Can JJ, due to his physique, due to how fast he is, how powerful he is running with the ball, could JJ make a player out of him? I have no doubt in my mind that he could. Did Talisca deserve to get all the minutes that he did this year, especially in detriment of a certain Bernardo Silva? I completely disagree. He should not have. And you can call me whatever you want to call me. You could say Talisca saved our ass at the beginning of the season because we were playing so poorly, but what if part of the reason we were playing so poorly was because of Talisca himself?
Steve, here's the thing, man. Here's a quick thought. This is why I kind of defend Talisca at times when it comes to your criticism, right? Which the guy just look. You should have the frog in that cup of tea, like no fucks given right now as Chris is talking. You guys on the YouTube channel, you'll see what I'm talking about. Steve, if you take away the fact that he did score a lot of goals at the beginning of the season, okay? And I think Alfredo and I have said this over and over and over and over repeatedly, that the only reason why I think the guy was being thrown out there is because he was, at least at the beginning of the season, carrying the team. Whether you want to say we played poorly because of him, I don't care. At the end of the day, we were getting the 3 points because of him. And I think that's why he was playing. Now, you take away those very important goals with this guy, right? Maybe he doesn't get the same minutes that he got at the beginning of the season. And maybe you wouldn't be such a harsh critic of this guy. Because let's go back to August. Okay, one guy that came in that I was very excited about being brought into this club, that's my boy Cristante, right? Who came in with much more fanfare, hasn't gotten nearly the minutes, and no one really criticized him because we all understood it was going to take this guy a year or two to get adapted to Portuguese football and to get into JJ's system, he wasn't quite ready. And I think that a lot of people overlook that when it comes to Talisca. Because he came in and right from the beginning he started scoring goals, you expecting this guy all of a sudden, oh, well, he's going to get playing time, he's scoring goals. Oh, surely he's ready. But the fact of the matter is that he's not ready. He was just playing because he was scoring goals. And at that time, this is a team that didn't have Jonas at the time. Let's not forget. This is a team that, Steve, I think everyone's confidence, including mine, yours, even the players, their confidence must have been way low. They just sold a shitload of players from the previous year. And like I mentioned before, he comes in midseason form when everyone else was starting off. So he was playing. But realistically, Steve, the kid's not ready. So let's try to give him a little break, because I think and it's just, if he didn't score those important ass goals at the beginning of the season, JJ might have pulled the string on him a little bit earlier and say, you know what, we got to develop you. But you couldn't afford to do that at the beginning. So I think it's unfair in that, because he's not ready, man. You have superstars that go to Real Madrid's and other teams right throughout Europe, and these kids are absolute superstars in the Brasileirão. They come to Europe, and it takes them a while to adjust and to adapt to the way of Portuguese, not Portuguese, but European football, which is a much quicker paced game. And obviously these guys have defensive responsibilities that they don't have in Brazil. So you kind of have to give Talisca, who is not a superstar by anyone's standards, a little leeway. Give the guy the opportunity to learn. And you know what? And it worked out well as a Benfiquista. He played when we needed him most, and he came up big time when we needed him. And now that his game's dropped off, the rest of the teams picked it up. So you know what? Thank you. We're going to most likely win the 34th because of those very key important goals that he scored at the beginning of the season. So cut the guy some slack.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and it worked out perfect that the guy was in mid-season form. He came in, and he scored those important goals for us. And Chris and I didn't doubt your evaluation of him, Steve. We just said that as long as the guy keeps scoring goals, it's hard to sit the guy that's scoring goals. But
no one ever doubts chalkboard. No one ever doubts chalkboard.
And we didn't doubt him.
Except for you. We didn't doubt you. We just said that it's hard to pull a guy that's scoring goals. Very hard to pull a guy that's scoring goals.
I realize I've been completely tough on him the whole season. It comes down to the fact that I was very annoyed that a mediocre player like him got all the minutes that he got, regardless of whether, even before he started scoring goals in the preseason and whatnot, where a player that I and we all admire quite a bit was just pushed aside and sent to Monaco. I'm going to come out.
That's not his fault.
That's what I'm going to say. It's not Talisca's fault. It's not only Talisca's fault how much I dislike the player himself. How's that sound? There's other motives.
I just went on a 10-minute tirade, and none of what I said changed your mind one bit. You know what? Maybe this SOB got a point. Maybe
he scored goals. Ready. He scored goals. He was never ready. But if he was never ready, why did he get so many opportunities when there were other players that, quote unquote, were never ready, never got opportunities? That was my whole argument with Talisca from the beginning.
Well, Steve, like I mentioned at the beginning of the season, there was no Jonas. There was no Rodrigo. There was no Oscar Cardozo. There was no Markovic. There was nobody at the time, and you had to kind of put someone in that position. They didn't even know. None of us. Well, I kind of bragged about the guy, but even I was going out on a limb, hoping, throwing some shit at the wall, hoping it stuck, and it stuck with Jonas. But none of us even knew what we had with that guy. So we didn't have many options at the beginning of the season. So it's I just think it's unfair to dislike the guy because Bernardo didn't get a chance. I don't think he influenced it one way or the other. I think that was a business decision that Luis Vieira made and decided to sell the guy. Now, as far as this guy, he's not ready. And again, I haven't heard anyone kill Cristante much. Why? Because he's not getting playing. He came in for $5 million. He came in with much more hype than this kid did, but nobody mentions him. And I don't want to criticize because I like him. But he wasn't ready. He's not playing. This guy at the time, we needed someone to do what he was doing at the beginning of the season. We didn't even know Pizzi, even though I don't rate him much, but we didn't even know Pizzi could play this position at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, no, I agree, and you got to also think that at preseason, he was at a much higher level than everyone, and I think that what Cristante is going through right now, in what JJ calls etapas, which is something that he probably had destined for Bernardo Silva, and there was a meeting between the two. And Bernardo Silva said he wanted to go play. JJ himself has said that Bernardo Silva wanted to burn these etapas that we're talking about, which is basically stages that a young player has to go through in order for JJ to feel that he's ready to play. So Bernardo Silva making that decision right away, and the club just let him go. Look, I don't have anything against the club lending him out. My problem is that there was no clause put in place that he couldn't be bought, and there was no clause, even the clause right away should have been said, he's going, but he's coming back, and that's the end of it. I don't care how much money you pay for it. That, to me, that was the biggest mistake with Bernardo Silva. I don't have a problem with JJ feeling that he wasn't ready to play, and he had to go through a learning stage, much like what Cristiano is going through, in order to be ready to play. I don't have a problem with that. So the kid wanted to go play, let him go. My problem is with the directory that let the kid go and didn't put a clause that would stop anybody from getting the kid and buying the kid while he was at loan or even after his loan had finished. That's my biggest problem with Bernardo Silva, not with what JJ's choice.
And to add to that big problem of yours, instead of putting a clause that he couldn't be bought, they put a half-price clause that he could be bought.
Right.
Which I think all of us are against. But, I mean, for 1 second here, as much as we like the kid, and I think the kid's going to be an absolute beast, should we put a little blame on him? I mean, the kid wanted to play. I can't hate him for that. I can't hate him for wanting to play. But that being said, maybe George Men's kind of like, yo, be out. Not only did he go get playing time, I'm pretty sure his salary went up, guys. Let's not forget that as well. This became a business decision. This wasn't even anymore a decision on the field. This was an off-the-field decision. And I think Bernardo should be put some of the blame on him as well because he kind of forced it. You know what? If he's such a Benfiquista, he could have said, you know what? You could buy him 15 minutes. I don't want to stay here. I mean, at the end of the day, the players do have some say in this.
Yeah.
And he chose to accept it.
I agree.
I think that Bernardo and JJ don't see eye to eye, to be absolutely honest. That's what I think part of it is. The other part is there's way too many variables that we have no idea exactly how it went down or what's going down between George Mendes, between whether or not he wanted to go to Monaco, whether he forced a move, all that stuff is it's all speculation. Even him not getting along with JJ speculation. But I've read a few things in the press that kind of show you that it looks like Bernardo was never in JJ's good graces, or JJ never really thought much of him, so he kind of jumped ship. So whatever.
I don't know if it had anything to do with good graces or the fact that JJ felt he wasn't ready yet.
And Bernardo thought he was, probably.
Well, I don't know if Bernardo thought he was, but I think ultimately it's the coach's decision. And I think the biggest mistake here is from the directory, not from anybody else, that they weren't able to stop Cristiano.
Well, go back to the beginning of the season. Benfica pretty much had their starting midfield set in stone. Gaetan on the left, Savio on the right, Enzo with the new signing, the new $10 million boy, Samaris in the middle. So there really wasn't much room for Bernardo at the time. Okay, it's not like Bernardo was gonna play the same position. He's not. To me, he's more of a playmaker than he is that second striker like Talisca was at the beginning of the season. So there wasn't really much room for this guy. And then you look back at the center mids that JJ likes to play with, and maybe I'm just throwing something up in the air now, but JJ doesn't really like smallish players. JJ likes big physical guys in the middle of the park, and I don't think Bernardo was that type of player. So maybe that's why he didn't think he was ready yet, Steve. No. I mean, I'm just.
No, I agree completely with you. For me, after this, we have to switch topics because the Bernardo thing is very sensitive. But for me, the minutes that Ola John gets coming off the bench to play on a flank, Bernardo's been doing that all year for Monaco and doing well. The minutes that Talisca got playing second forward, I'd have to argue that Bernardo has all the abilities that Talisca has, minus the physique, minus maybe the outside shot, but.
Now you could say that. Now you could say, because you know what, we've all, anyone around the world has seen this guy play. I mean, I should say, yeah. I forgot to say play. Anyone around the world has seen this guy play at Monaco. I didn't see this big fuss in August when he was loaned out. We were like, okay, I think all of us were kind of worried because we kind of know the shady business behind the scenes. Like, man, this guy's leaving, bro, and fuck. Doesn't sit well with me. There's a possibility this guy doesn't come back, right? Besides that, I don't think any of us was against the loan at the time. You know, he went, go get playing time, mature, and then come back. That's in an ideal world. That's the perfect plan for us Benfiquistas. He goes out, he gets playing time, he's brought back. Now, I think Benfica and JJ was on par with that. Now, when we got to that stage, I think that's where the blame has to be put on Bernardo. Because if Bernardo is such a huge Benfiquista, he forces his way back. End of story, guys. I'm sorry. Look at our boy, Rui Costa. My man said, I'm Benfiquista. I'm going to go. Yo, he had 2 more years of contract, getting paid triple he was getting paid at Benfica, at AC Milan, and he came back. He said, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to play. End of story. I mean, you think you have to put some blame on these guys. He saw more money, a much more lucrative deal than he was going to get at Benfica. And you know what? In his mind, he was going to get playing time regardless. So, it's the best of both worlds. I'm going to play, and I'm going to get more money. Peace.
I understand what you're saying, but you're also looking at different times of different times in their careers, both players. My thing is that but my thing is that, and Steve and I and all of us I've always talked about this, about players that Bernardo could come in and obviously get their playing time rather than the ones that are getting playing time. One of them being Olajan, but Olajan being familiar with JJ's system and being a player that JJ is familiar with and that knows the way JJ works. At that time, I think he had an edge based on that on Bernardo Silva. Is Bernardo better than Olajan? Probably. Is Bernardo a winger like Olajan? He's not. He's not a winger. He's an interior guy.
Absolutely.
Listen, right now,
Gaetan is not a winger per se either.
Right now, there's no argument, guys. Right now, I think 100 out of 100 soccer fans, forget Benfiquistas, just soccer fans. If you watch both guys play on any given weekend, 100 out of 100 are going to take Bernardo Silva. That's a no-brainer. But I think if you go back to August, again, when we go back to preseason, Bernardo got to play a couple preseason games, and none of us was like, wow, look at this guy. And say what you want about Olajan. You might not like the guy, but he's had good games for Benfica. He's had good moments in his 2.5 years, whatever it is, at Benfica now. So I think that's what it was weighing. It was a guy that was already closer to what JJ needed than what Bernardo was. And I think they made the wrong decision, but that's hindsight being tough. I mean, none of us were making that much noise, like, again, in August, like we're doing now. So
yeah. All right, let's we went on a huge tangent there. Let's just get back to the game. Benfica scored in the 14th minute, and always an early goal is always good to settle down the team, to take away some of that anxiety. Then we got the second goal in the 22nd minute by Jonas. The first one was by Maxi, and really, Steve, the one thing that I noticed is JJ's gesture following Jonas's goal, the double fist bump on the sidelines. Meaning 2-0 early on. We're well on our way for this, and he really anticipated this to be a hard game, despite Gill Vicente being in last place.
Yeah, he was expecting more fight from Gill Vicente. I think even Jose Mota came out, I think, after the game. He said he was expecting more from his team. Gill Vicente had a very hard time tracking our movement up front. And to be honest, it wasn't even one of our better games, and we still were just steamrolling them. But that fist pump is the same feeling we all had. That's one step closer to the title. A game that might have looked somewhat difficult on paper ended up being pretty easy. It's a sign of relief. It's a sign of joy, I guess. That's what it was. I mean, it is only Gill Vicente, but they are fighting for survival. They're on their home pitch. There were definitely warning signs there. The fact that it ended up being as easy as it was, the fact that it was a rout, is just a bonus.
Yeah. And Cristiano, after we went up 2-0, we kind of let up a little bit, and we saw Gill Vicente emerge. And I got to tell you, the way I saw this team play, and we talk about this all the time, that teams just get up to play against Benfica. I'm saying that the way I saw this Gill Vicente playing after suffering the second goal, there's no way this is a team that's in penultimate place, that's in second to last place right now in the league, if they play like this week in, week out.
Yeah, but you know what? They ran into a buzzsaw. They ran into a Benfica that needs to win at least, 3 games of the last 4 in order to clinch this title. And so Benfica was just going to smack them around like they did. And I don't know. It's always tough to go out there for Benfica, but I think that the early goal was, Benfica were able to alleviate that pressure. And there wasn't much Gill Vicente was going to be able to do to stop Benfica from putting up 4 or 5 goals. It was just, I know they weren't that impressive, but I thought that when they got near the goal, bro, they were, they created plenty of chances.
Yeah. Yeah, and Luizão 3-0, and then Lima 4-0, and then Maxi closed it out 5-0. And, pretty much a clear demolishing win for Benfica as we expected, playing against next to last place team, a very weak team on paper that's fighting for a battle not to get relegated. I would say that this was a very good performance by Benfica, regardless of the opponent. But here's the thing that I wanted to touch up on, Steve. There was on a run up to the game. There was a lot of talk about the nomination of the referee. Capello was the referee that was nominated, and right away we heard talk from Porto, talk from Sporting, saying that Capello had been involved in Benfica games where they thought he had favored of Benfica. Is this contesting these nominations? Is this something that's going to go on from now until the end of the championship, or until the championship is won, to put pressure on these referees to be a lot more tougher on Benfica than they're supposed to?
For sure. I mean, what other options do they have? The league title is no longer in their hands. They don't have the direct control on what happens, so they're going to do whatever they can to upset the balance of the game. If it's going after a ref that, if he was so biased, why does he still have a job? Here's my question for you. If he was so good, why? If he was so for Benfica, why did he have many calls where I thought were fantastic tackles, where there was no contact, well, there was minimal contact, and you got the ball, where he still called it against Benfica? I remember a pretty good tackle from Gaetan, and I can't remember the other one, which was even cleaner right now that it's escaping my mind. I think it was Samaris. And he calls a foul where there's no foul there. So if anything, it did condition him a little bit, but whatever conditioning you try to do to a ref, when Benfica is going to play against Penafiel at home, and when they're going to play against teams that they should beat, Guimarães, Marítimo, there's no pressure that you're going to put on the ref that's going to make the game, hopefully, isn't going to make the game different. I mean, it hopefully will never be a 0-0 game up until 80th minute and the ref calls a penalty against us type deal. So this whole thing with going after refs it's old. It's been done before. I'm pretty sure they tried to do it last year as well, but they were much further back at that point.
I pay it no attention. Just a bunch of crybabies whining and crying. I mean, come on, bro. Get over it. You know what? You had your chance. You had your chance last week at Stadio de Luz, all right? And you effed up. Now, shut up and move on. Keep playing. Stop crying, bro. That's all it is from Porto. And even Sporting. Why is Sporting even trying to get involved with the big boys? Go back in the corner, play with your little Legos, and let the big boys play with the alcohol, okay? Stop mixing yourself up. You're a little dude, man. Stay in the corner.
And one last thing before we move on to the next topic. Cristiano, Benfica's defense, 17 goals this year. 17 goals. A lot of those goals, crucial goals.
And you know what that is? That's the addition of my boy, Pop Sick. It's all my boy Pop Sick. He makes everything go, okay? That's all I have to say. That's it. Pop Sick for MVP. But seriously, listen, the one thing is, Benfica with those two giants in the middle, Jardel and Luizão, those guys are monsters. At least in Portuguese football, they could get up with the best of them. And then Maxi's just Maxi, man. I mean, what can you say about Maxi? The guy is a freaking machine. Sad he most likely will not be back next season, but the guy, there's nothing the guy can't do. Let's not forget, he came to Benfica from Uruguay, whatever the hell he was at the time, and as a midfielder. Okay, so this guy is a guy that obviously knows how to go forward, knows how to pull the ball in the back of the net. And Benfica, whomever it was, I believe JJ, just tip my cap to him once again, realized that this guy could be very very productive at right back, and they decided to switch his position. So it just Benfica all around, they have very good players that could at least convert the few chances that they get. But obviously, my boy Eliseo, man, come on. The guy puts him over the top. That's what it is. Pop Sick. So without his three goals, Benfica wouldn't have 17. So just keep that in mind.
He is the difference maker, though. I think. I think in terms of goals scored, he's edging Cicada, and the other two are at similar-ish levels to what Garay and Luizon did.
Man, talking about Garay, man. Like, see, Steve, you talk about deals, okay, that piss you off. You talk about this whole Bernardo thing, right? Benfica sells this guy for like $6 in a bag of peanuts, and now there's rumors that Manchester United's gonna go buy him for 25 mil. Who the hell signed off on these dumbass deals? Who's the guy? I mean, if it's Rui Costa, we're gonna have a little conversation, all right? It's not fair. Whoever's signing off on these dumbass deals, bro, has a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah.
Steve don't even want to add. Steve don't even want to say nothing.
No, we discussed that a lot last year, and it was just honestly, I've come to a point where it comes to transfer strategy, I just try to not understand it, because the more you try to wrap your head around it and understand what they're trying to do, the more it frustrates you.
All right, we're gonna break here for Nelson's thing. We'll be right back.
And now, the halftime headlines.
Don't go to the game y vai comer, okay? Easy. But if you're not going to eat the rest of the week, you're a dumbass if you're going to go to a soccer game.
We start off by looking at our gritty Uruguayan right back, Maxi Pereira. He's been a staple at the club since 2007, representing us with the armband on several occasions. Our vice-captain has netted 5 goals this season, his most productive outing of any campaign, including 2 over the weekend. While contractual options are still on the table, we sincerely hope he stays with us. Quédate con nosotros, Maxi. Nas modalidades, Benfica's futsal team won the Taça da Liga over the weekend after beating Funão 5-2 in the final. After rolling over Sporting 2-1 in the semi, they knew it had to be done to bring back more hardware to the Cosme Damião Museum. Congratulations to them. With Nico Gaitan leaving just before halftime on Saturday against Gill Vicente, we saw a bit of an interesting scenario, with Samaris and Fazia playing in the middle, possessive holding roles. But perhaps the most interesting player scenario of the day was the introduction of Miriam Suljamani, the Serbian winger who'd been sidelined with a fractured collarbone for a lengthy period, started on Saturday. Miriam possibly did more in 80 minutes than Ola John has done all season. Bagging an assist on his first league game in more than a year, he could fit in nicely to a squad hurting with injuries. And in other news, Sporting celebrated winning a bronze medal in judo. Wow. Again, going to show that Sporting can still come in third, no matter what the sport. And that's all for this week.
All right, good job, Nelson.
I think still coming third. I mean, Sporting Braga's on their heels, bro.
Yeah. And I also forgot to say something. I'll say it now. Benfica can actually clinch the championship with the win this weekend and a Porto loss.
Draw.
Really?
Really? I don't know.
I don't know if the draw would be enough.
Yeah, they'd be at 4 points. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
4 or 5 with still 6 to play. No, it would have to be a loss, I think.
I dropped out, dude.
I was gonna say math was never my strong point, but I think you stopped me on that one.
Addition and subtraction. That was about the only thing, and it failed me now.
No, Alfredo, you're right. Don't worry.
All right, let's turn our attention to some rumors that we've heard, and actually, since we were talking about Maxi, there is something that was published on a couple of the media outlets, a couple of the papers, that there was some kind of an agreement between Galatasaray and Maxi, and apparently Galatasaray is offering €2 million per year to Maxi. That's kind of a tough one to refuse.
Absolutely. I don't know what our pay structure is, but I'm pretty sure we can't afford to give Maxi $2 million a year. Even if we could afford to, you gotta still fall within that pay structure. I mean, if let's say, quote unquote, your best player, your goal scorer, or somebody like Gaitan or like a Jonas makes $2 million, as good as Maxi is, as important as he is, there's still that hierarchy in pay. There's still that structure. So you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. So, yeah, one way or the other, I don't know if Maxi's playing for a new contract or if he's just being Maxi himself and giving it his all. He's been fantastic throughout the whole season. His contract has been up. You could think that maybe he'd be, getting a little complacent, not thinking so much about Benfica, but he's been absolutely fantastic all year. He's been just a model professional. And I saw a picture today of him with Jonathan Rodriguez, and Rodriguez calls him a crack and basically an example or something like that. And I was like, that is exactly what he is, and it would be nice to keep him along to see if we could guide you in the right way too. But we'll see what happens.
And I think he said also thanked them for always being there. So apparently, Maxi is taking on some of a father figure for Maxi or an older brother role for not for Maxi for Bebadu while he's at Lisboa. What do you think, Cristiano? I mean, we can't undervalue and undermine the value that Maxi has for this team.
I mean, guys, let's be fair. I don't think I'm smart enough to add anything positive here to say about Maxi. I mean, anything that could be said about him has been said before. The guy's just a tremendous player. The guy's a tremendous leader for this ball club. He gives it his all no matter what, whether his contract is up, whether he signs a new deal. This is just a spectacular player, obviously one that the young players could follow by example. So, I don't even know what to say. Listen, I would love to have him back. But just the way that things have gone, it just leads you to believe, man, like, we've heard about these handshake agreements between the president and players, and it just, makes me wonder, man, is there an agreement between him and the president to finally let this guy go if you get a deal that Benfica can't match? And right now, $2 million is a lot of money. But I do think, unlike Steve, I do think that Benfica could afford to pay him $2 million, believe it or not. But there'd probably be more lucrative offers out there on the table for him, and probably come from better leagues. So I think he's just going to wait to the very last minute and see what offers he has on the table, and then weigh him up against Benfica. And if it's a huge difference, I think he'll go out on his payday and go do what he has to do. But obviously as a Benfiquista, if you don't want Maxi back, you obviously haven't been watching.
Yeah, the other piece of news: Marcelo Melli, Boca Juniors midfielder that is being compared to or similar. It's been said that he's similar to Enzo Perez, but I didn't say whether Enzo Perez before he got to Benfica or Enzo Perez while he was at Benfica, so I'm not really sure. 22-year-old midfielder from Boca, Marcelo Melli. I'll be honest, I don't know the kid. But if he plays for Boca...
Yeah, he's got to be decent. He's got to be decent playing for Boca. Yeah, absolutely. And there's also some news on Rodrigo Moura, right? Also another Argentine that River Plate that Benfica loaned out to him. JJ was crazy about this dude a couple years back. You guys recall? Brought him in, didn't like him, sent him out on loan. He doesn't want to come back. And now supposedly River registered him already for next season, something like that.
No, Benfica sold him. Benfica sold them outright.
Oh, they did sold.
Benfica sold them outright. Yeah.
I must have been reading all news.
Yeah. Hola, John.
It's all Peggy's fault. He sends me all stuff all hours of the night, and I just read it, and I just don't check the dates.
The other thing is, Hola, John, apparently interest from PSV Eindhoven that can pay up to $20 million for Hola, John. Eja, let's go. Do it.
Yeah. Send him on the plane.
I'll take him there. Send them on the Benfica bus, on the Vermilhão to Eindhoven.
They say AC Milan's also interested in him, but Benfica's obviously sticking by their guns and saying that the only way they'll sell them is if they get $20 million. So,
no.
I mean, listen, take 15, and I'll personally buy my own ticket. And I'll drive him to the airport.
Now, the thing is that he's obviously partly owned by Doyen. So we don't know what kind of deals are in there, how much Benfica actually paid for him, how much Benfica owns, how much Doyen owns, how much Doyen wants. It's a whole big mess for me. At $5 million, let's go. Let's do it. $5 million, I'm done. I just think that Olajan has been in Portugal for too long and has had plenty of chances to show his value, and I think that every time I see him, I'm more disappointed in him.
I think he's stagnated. I'm with you guys. I don't know if $5 million is enough, but there's definitely a price for Olajan, and it's definitely in the $7 million and up, maybe $8 million and up. But he would go for sure. 5 million's cheap, man.
5 million for Olajuwon, you think is cheap?
He's 22 years old. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's 22.
Vai te matar, man.
Fights my dad.
Steve's
5
right.
million for Olajuwon is cheap?
Steve's right.
If it was up to you, I'd be dead years ago. He told me so many times.
No, but Steve's right though. Steve's absolutely right because
5 million,
when
man.
you consider he's a Dutch international, don't forget that, guys. He's also Dutch international. That carries weight. So I think 5, like Steve said, 8 to 10 mil. I could see one of these. Sunderland, for example.
The problem is, I think we have that much invested in him on our own without Dorian.
I meant to say Southampton with Ronald Koeman as the coach, guy that obviously knows Dutch players pretty well, and they have the money to spend. So I mean, I think that's the type of movie he's gonna make. AC Milan's also interested, but we don't even know what's going on with this new ownership with Mr. B or whatever. We don't know if they're gonna spend or not. So there's plenty of teams that are interested in him, so it'll be interesting. I think, Steve, you're right on 8 to 10 mil. I think that's probably his market value. But if he could get 20, I mean, shit, it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
All right. The other thing is Benfica seems to be interested in a trio of Rio players: Hassan, Ederson, and Diego Lopes. Hassan is a forward, Ederson is a goalkeeper, and Diego Lopes is a creative midfielder. So I think the Hassan thing is something that's been around for quite some time. Diego Lopes is actually a guy that was formed in Benfica, and Benfica just gave him away, kind of let him go, and then now it is what it is. So I don't know but I think that might be a little bit of a stretch. I think maybe one of those three might make it to Benfica. But as always, there rumors are starting to circulate on some of these players that stood out throughout the season with the various clubs that Benfica is interested in. The other one is Marçal, obviously from Nacional. It's been talked that both Benfica and Sporting are after him, the Nacional's left back. So we really don't know. But the truth is that we'll probably hear a lot of rumors from now until the end of the season. And then, we'll discuss it once it's made official by Benfica. We'll discuss each one of the players or each one of the signings that Benfica makes.
Bro, one thing I don't want is Benfica to go out there and just sign players just for the hell of it. They've done in previous years. Now this third-party ownership is out the window, so hopefully they don't stack up on players. I know Steve's been going back and forth on Twitter talking about Benfica just trying to close the market and going out there and corner the market, I should say, and sign every player available so the other guys can get. I don't want that, man. Benfica has like 100 signed players on the contract. Stop with that, man. Sell all those guys, okay? And now you could afford Maxi at $2 million because now you don't have to spend that money on an additional 60 players. So, I mean, that'd be the ideal scenario for me. But if these guys are going to be a part of the starting of the equipo principal, okay, I'm okay with signing a guy. But now if it's gonna be for B team and to loan them out, come on, man, leave the guys alone, dude. Stop wasting your money.
Let's look at the B team first and some of the guys that are on loan to see what we can take advantage of before we go out and splurge on these guys, which most of them will end up being lottery tickets and probably not even fit enough and not even capable of wearing the Benfica jersey. While these guys on the B team, they already know what it is to wear a Benfica jersey. I know that playing at the Seychelles is not the same thing as playing at the Luz, but still, these guys are in there. I mean, they see things that a lot of these guys from the outside don't see, and then when they get to the club, it's like they've been hit with, with the frigidaire. They just freeze and they don't know what to do. They shit their pants.
Like deer in the headlights. That's what it is. But listen, one thing is, at least to me, I don't know about you guys. It seems like when Benfica loans you out, you kind of like forgotten about. Forget it. It's like you're not even a part of next season and like, we'll bring you in, look at you. It's kind of like, all right, JJ's made up his mind. You're not a part of this team unless you go out and you develop to this tremendous player, which we barely have seen. I mean, Steve, am I right? Have there been many players who've gotten loaned out and then brought back? I know Quintron was one of them. Roderick. Oh, my God. Don't even remember me. Don't even remind me of that dude.
John.
Sydney. John? John was where the hell was I?
John went to Hamburg last.
Oh yeah, that's right. Jesus Christ, I forgot
for
about
half a year, I believe it was.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
I don't know. I talk about players on loan. I think Ivan Cavaleiro can do just as good a job as John does. So if that's what the level of the squad will be, and that's the measure you have, sell John, bring back Ivan.
Who's the other kid that center midfielder that plays at Coruña along with Caballero? I feel like, okay, a lot of guys talk about this kid could make could be a part of the team next season. I haven't watched him play. I'd be lying to you if I told you I did.
I've seen bits and pieces. He's okay. I just don't see him being a huge improvement over anybody we have. I might be wrong. He may prove me wrong, but I think if we're counting on somebody to play in PT's position or to take over Gaetan's position, which to me are the two spots that maybe he could play, I think we're going to need to look for better players than Farina, just based on the 3-4 games I've seen him play.
Yeah. All right. Let's turn our attention now to Penafiel, actually, which comes up next. Penafiel is in last place, and basically, they're going down. No matter what happens, they got to play Benfica. They got to play Porto in their last game, and I think right now they will need to win all their games outright in order to have a chance to stay up, and obviously count on Vitória Setúbal also losing. But it's not looking good. Coming to Estádio da Luz Saturday, 5 p.m. local. I just read the ball as saying that Benfica is expecting another sellout at Estádio da Luz. Obviously, now people are going to be coming to Benfica's game because anytime Benfica can clinch the title now, and people want to be part of that. So it's going to be another sellout. But Cristiano, I don't expect a lot from this Penafiel game, especially Penafiel being in last. Benfica.
Yep, I agree. Yep, Alfredo. Yeah, I don't expect much. I mean, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. The game's at Estádio da Luz, correct?
The game is at Estádio da Luz.
5-0. 5-0. Benfica is absolutely going to wipe the floor with these guys and clinch the 3 points and try to clinch the campeonato, like Alfredo said, if Porto loses. So I think this is going to be a relatively easy game for Benfica. I think my boy Jonas scores 2. My boy Eliseu might actually get a goal here. Okay.
3-0. You're calling.
Yeah, I'm rooting. No, I said like 5-0. I'm just going with 3 to 5. Yeah. I mean, I'm not Nostradamus here. I can't guess everything. I like to see Bibadou play. By the way, I would like to see Bibadou get some minutes here. At the end of the season. I know it's rough because Jonas and Lima, they're right there fighting for the Pichichi for the Golden Boot in the Portuguese league with Jackson Martinez. So I know it's rough. You don't want to take those guys off the field, but yeah, listen, I want to see what we got in this guy. I want to see if we can count on this guy for next season. I don't care about a meaningless game and in a tour that they're gonna go to Mozambique play against some coitadinhos. You know what I mean? I want to see what this guy could do against at least Portuguese league competition.
Yeah. I think, and for anybody thinking that this is a trap game, this is not a trap game. Benfica is well aware of what's at stake, and the championship is in sight. There's no way that Benfica is looking past this game because they have to win this game if they want to be champions. So I think that Benfica is going to take this game very serious. They're going to take this game to Penafiel early, and they're going to finish this game early. I don't think that there's any anxiety at this point yet. For Benfica to win the championship and for the team to feel that they're pressured to win this game. I think they're just going to do what they do, and they're going to win this game. Steve, what do you think?
I'm of the same opinion. I mean, it's the last place team, a team that's coming to Estádio da Luz. They're not going to have much to play for. Maybe that might work in their favor, but I highly doubt it. Benfica's played well basically for the past 5 months at home. What's going to change now when they know the chips are down? Every last point is going to get them closer to their goal. What's going to change now against the last place team? I mean, I hate for it to blow up in my face, but I'm of the same opinion as you guys that it should be a relatively easy game given the fact that Benfica should have their eye on the prize. There should be no complacency.
Yeah.
Bro, there's no way, guys. I mean, come on, Steve.
Don't do that, man.
I'm freaking seeing it right now. I'm putting the Oliveira stamp of approval on it, all right? Benfica's absolutely going to get the 3 points here, man. I mean, come on. I mean, this will be disastrous. This will be burro, be retarded if Benfica were to struggle against this team, guys. Come on, it's at home. If it was on the road, I could see you being a little bit cautious, Steve. But come on, it ain't Gaza, man. The fans are gonna support this team. Jonas guaranteed. Dois in Gaza. It's gonna be a nice, easy, breezy victory for Benfica. Road to the campeonato, baby. Rumo 34. Bora.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't think there's much we can add about this Penafiel game. Also,
curious fact: João Martins is Carlos Martins' brother, and he has played about 30 games for Penafiel. So expect to him. Maybe he'll have an axe to grind for his brother being mistreated at Benfica.
Or maybe he'll take after his brother and just be hungover. You know what I mean? You never know.
I don't know why you had that fact falls right under useless facts that people don't care.
I'm a fountain of useless information.
I cared. I like to know stuff like that. Thank you, Steve. I like to know things like that. It's always fun to know when you guys got brothers throughout Portugal, or any of the league, I should say.
Another fact that I should mention. This was reminded to me by Mario, is that there was a Brazilian study done where they I think they did a study on the team with the most sócios, and Benfica once again came in first. So we needed the Brazilian study, a confirmation to make sure that we were in first.
Wait, I posted one of those Brazilian studies on Twitter a couple months back. I'm interested to know if it's the same study, if it was a whole new one. And now I'm kind of surprised that a Benfiquista like yourself would say, and Benfica once again came first. No shit. I mean, come on, everyone knows that Benfica é o maior clube do mundo. At least with sócios, guys. All right. Sócios. And we know in trophies, I don't know if there's other teams that compete with Benfica in trophies, because, hey, caralho, aquela modalidade, esquece.
Well, but, Sporting's got a lot of third and fourth place trophies.
Tem razão. But they don't have money for a museum.
They give trophies for third and fourth place in the modalidades.
They don't even have money to build their own pavilhão. Never mind.
Então onde é que os gajos jogam? Na freguesia?
No, they rent out some kind of a gym from in Louros, I think.
Coitadinhos, man. Why are we always talking about those pobres, man? Deixa os gajos em paz, man. Leave them alone, man.
Anyway, I think that's all I got. Thanks everybody for interacting with us on Twitter. I'm looking to see if I see anything.
Bro, you look like one of those sideline reporters in the Portuguese soccer game with the microphone in hand, the big ass headphones.
I don't have a stand. I don't have a stand, so I'm looking for. I know that Meg had a couple of good ones, and I apologize, Meg, that I'm not.
Where's Peggy, man? Peggy sleeping?
Peggy's sleeping.
I think he's working, but
work is overrated, Peggy. If you're listening.
Yeah, Meg. If Benfica can't win against the last place team, then they should not win the league. Agreed.
Same.
Tem razão, meu.
And
another example of a loan and being brought back was Enzo.
Yeah,
Enzo was a special case, I think. The way he got hurt, then he got homesick, so we just sent him back and kind of did him a favor.
But wait, getting back to Meg's point, even Benfica would have obviously have a disastrous result here against Penafiel. They still be champ. Yeah, they still win the league. So
yeah. Kevin said they had great points on Talisca early on. Cristiano.
Kevin, checks in the mail, buddy. Got you.
Neil is saying that Cristiano needs minutes. He's a great talent. He's going to make us a lot of money. Can't he at least be a sub? Well, it depends how many people are in front of him.
Especially with the reemergence of Faith.
Exactly. Mourinho. When those two guys came back, it kind of just ended everything for Cristante. But the one thing about Cristante, though, that's interesting, guys, is from what I hear, he's not even playing on a B team. So, I mean, what the hell is this guy doing? Yeah. I mean, JJ wants to develop a guy, but how? Like, what? In what? Futebol Praia?
There's got to be some value to good training minutes with JJ, but at his age,
you need experience.
For me, a player has to play.
Yep.
There's nothing like playing in the match, regardless if it's with the B team or with us. Obviously, you would prefer that he plays in the first team because, let's be honest, you watch the kid, you could see that there's probably way too much talent in those feet to be playing in the second division. But regardless, you need a guy to have that game rhythm to be exposed to actual game situations, not only training. So.
Tienes razón.
Yeah, I just think, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but that there was he was interviewed for an Italian outlet, media outlet, and he said he was very happy at Benfica and he wasn't looking to move on. So whatever it is that's going on, he's no Nelson Oliveira, that's for sure. And also, he's probably seeing things and realizing things that he's probably getting a great learning experience. And I'm sure that you will get minutes next season. You will get many, many more minutes next season.
I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little conflicted right now when it comes to this guy, because obviously I love him, and I hope you're right. I hope he is a part of the team next year. But with Samaris, Feja, Mourinho, I mean, this is a guy that hasn't played in months. And I know, like you guys have mentioned, practice is key because practice makes perfect. But come on, dude. I mean, it's been months. It hasn't been weeks. It's been months that this guy hasn't gotten some minutes. So it has me a little bit worried. I just don't understand Benfica's thinking here. Okay, he's not ready to play on the A team, but why not give him some burn and put those skills, the things that he's practicing and learning on the JJ, why not put him to work, with the B team?
Yeah. How do you know he doesn't have a clause that he won't play for the B team?
Gaton, you know what? That case is being loaned out next year.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think I understand what you're saying about Amuri and Fesa. I just don't think he's that type of player. I think he's a player that plays a little bit more up on the field.
I hope you're right.
So we'll see. Maybe he is. JJ comes up with these guys out of the blue. These guys, he puts them in, and it's like they've been playing there for most of their life. Look at Pizzi. Look at where he came from. Look at Enzo, where he came from. I remember last year when Witzel left. When Witzel left,
2 years ago.
2 years ago, sorry. When Witzel left, that there was an interview with Enzo, and Enzo said he was ready to play in that center midfield role.
And we were all like.
And a couple weeks later, there he was.
Yeah. But, I remember when that interview came out, both me and you were like, what the heck is this guy talking about? Yeah. He's going to play at number 8. Yeah, I remember that very well.
I just don't if I had to put money on it, I don't think Pizzi will be our center midfielder next year, our number 8.
I agree with that.
That's if you want to have any aspirations in the Champions League and whatnot, because I think after clinching the B next year, we really got to put some effort into making a good run at the Champions League. At least get out of the group stage, for God's sake.
Well, I'll tell you this much: losing Maxi and Gaitan's not helping.
It's not helping us, but I think that there's a lot of decent guys on this team. I know, and guys leave, and every time we think and we curse this team out for losing these guys, and what are we gonna do? And then 3 months down the road, we've all forgotten. Now, who remembers Matic? Who remembers Enzo?
But dude,
I do.
Yeah, I do too. But listen, you're right when it comes to the Portuguese league. But you just stated we should put more of an effort into the Champions League, and there's a reason why we haven't gotten out of the first round. That's why. Okay, Alfredo, that's why. Yeah, you might be right. We plug in these guys, and I'm like, oh, snap, look, we're still in first place. Yay! But then we got Steve complaining about we can't do shit in the Champions League. So it's kind of give and take.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what comes up. All right, I think that's all I got. Anybody got anything else to add before we move on? Before we move out?
Don't drink too much tequila today, guys.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo is coming to an end.
Almost. No, I still got a couple hours, man.
Yeah, a couple hours. All right. Thanks, Steve Santos at Steve Santos 6, Cristiano Oliveira at 10CO10. My name. I never say what my name is. I just realized I always introduce you guys and I never say who I am.
Alfredo Fumaças.
That's right. At Benfica Podcast is where I am on Twitter. At 10CO10 at Benfica at Steve Santos 6 is where you can find Mr. Santos. And I forgot to check the results of the poll that we up on our website.
We forgot to talk about it as well.
But I think that it was a resounding win for JJ approached the Clásico just right. I think from last time I checked that had the most votes. So everybody thought that there was a good approach by JJ, and so on and so forth.
I wanted to add this. Very disappointed with our listeners and our viewers, bro. Very disappointed.
Here we go.
For months, I've been talking about. All right, guys, shorten your Twitter handle. Nobody does it. Nobody. Marco says, add Lotto Peggy, whatever, and everybody does it. What's up with that? What's up with that, guys?
I don't know. I didn't do it.
Right, Steve? Right? That's messed up.
But I didn't shorten my name either. So
I know, but at least you didn't do either. But the rest of the people, that's messed up, man. Hurt my feelings.
All right, I think that's about it. And don't forget to follow Cristiano's advice and vai comer.
Vão comer, pá. Pisa na testa. Arrivederci.
See everybody. Next week we will look back at the Penafiel game and we'll look ahead to the Guimarães game. Thank you very much. Thanks for checking us out. Thank you for interacting with us. Thank you to the 25 viewers we had on YouTube today. Thanks. That's great. And don't forget to check out our podcast on iTunes and all that great stuff. Facebook page, blah, 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 blah. Thanks. See you next week. Bye.